The Okonkwo family compound in Enugu was alive with celebration. Pink and blue balloons danced in the afternoon breeze, tied to every available surface. Banners declaring boy or girl hung across the expansive courtyard where 80 people had gathered. Family members, church friends, neighbors, all waiting for the moment of revelation. Chidinma Okonkwo stood beside the elaborately decorated table, her hand resting on her 7-month pregnant belly. At 32, she'd never felt more beautiful. Her pink and blue maternity dress flowed elegantly around her, and her natural hair was styled in goddess locks that cascaded down her back. Her face glowed with the kind of joy that only expectant mothers possess. "Chi, you look so happy," her best friend Zainab said, adjusting one of the balloon arrangements. At 25, Zainab Hassan was stunning, tall, slim, with long braids and the kind of effortless beauty that had made her Instagram influencer career take off. She'd been running around all morning, making sure every detail was perfect. "I am happy," Chidinma said, pulling her friend into a hug. "Thank you for organizing all this. I don't know what I'd do without you." Zainab's smile didn't quite reach her eyes, but Chidinma was too excited to notice. Her husband Emeka appeared beside her, handsome in his casual designer wear. At 35, he was a picture success, bank director, ambitious, well-respected. He placed his hand over Chidinma's on her belly. "Ready to find out what we're having?" he asked. "More than ready," she beamed. Mama Okonkwo, Emeka's 60-year-old mother, clapped her hands. "Everyone, it's time." The crowd gathered around the table where a massive cake sat, covered in pink and blue frosting with a question mark on top. Inside, the color would reveal the baby's gender. "On 3. Papa Okonkwo shouted, his 63-year-old voice still commanding. 1, 2, the crowd joined in. 3. Chidinma and Emeka cut into the cake together, pulling out the first slice. Pink. Bright, beautiful pink. "It's a girl!" The compound erupted in joy. Chidinma screamed with happiness, tears streaming down her face. She turned and threw her arms around Emeka, who hugged her back. Around them, people were dancing, ululating in the traditional Igbo way, music suddenly blaring from the speakers. "A daughter!" Chidinma cried. "We're having a daughter." Zainab appeared beside them, and Chidinma pulled her into the embrace. "Auntie Zainab is going to spoil you rotten," she laughed, not seeing the guilt flash across her best friend's face. For 3 glorious minutes, Chidinma was purely, completely happy. She cut slices of pink cake and handed them out, laughing as pink frosting got on her fingers. She danced with her mother, with Mama Okonkwo, with Ada, her 28-year-old lawyer sister, who'd driven in from Lagos. She was so happy she didn't notice Emeka and Zainab exchange a look. Then Emeka tapped his champagne glass with a spoon. The sharp sound cut through the music, through the celebration. "Everyone, everyone," he called out. "Can I have your attention?" The music stopped. The dancing ceased. 80 pairs of eyes turned to him. Chidinma was still smiling, pink frosting on her fingers, thinking he was about to make a sweet speech about their daughter. "Now that we know we're having a princess," Emeka said, his voice carrying across the suddenly quiet compound, "I have another announcement to make." He paused, and in that pause, Chidinma felt the first flutter of unease. "I've found the love of my life," Emeka continued, "the woman who makes me truly happy." Chidinma's smile faltered. What was he talking about? Emeka gestured toward Zainab, who stepped forward, her face a mixture of fear and defiance. "What?" Chidinma started to say, but the word died in her throat, because Emeka was getting down on one knee, in front of his pregnant wife, in front of his family, at their daughter's gender reveal party. He was getting on one knee in front of Zainab. "Zainab Hassan," Emeka said, pulling out a ring box. "Will you marry me?" Time seemed to stop. The compound was so silent, you could hear the balloons rustling in the breeze. Zainab was crying. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, "Yes, yes, I will." Emeka slipped the ring on her finger, stood up, and kissed her. The compound exploded, but not with joy, with chaos. Emeka, Mama Okonkwo's scream, could have woken the dead. What is this madness? Chidinma stood frozen, pink frosting still on her fingers, staring at her best friend, her sister in everything but blood, wearing her husband's ring. Have you lost your mind? Papa Okonkwo roared, storming toward his son. Your wife is standing right here. You just celebrated your daughter together. Emeka had the audacity to look calm, almost proud. I know. That's why I'm doing this now. I want everyone to know. I'm in love with Zainab. I'm going to marry her. Chidinma found her voice, though it came out broken and small. Zainab, you're my best friend. We just hugged. Zainab couldn't meet her eyes, but her voice was defiant. I'm sorry, Chi, but we fell in love. We didn't mean for it to happen. How long? Chidinma's voice was getting stronger now, harder. She looked at her husband, this man she'd loved for 7 years, married for 5. How long have you been sleeping with her? Does it matter? Emeka said dismissively. How long? Chidinma screamed, and the compound flinched. Zainab whispered, 8 months. The calculation hit everyone at once. 8 months. Chidinma had announced her pregnancy 9 months ago. They'd started the affair right after she got pregnant. I told you first, Chidinma said to Zainab, her voice shaking. Before anyone else. You were the first person I called when I found out I was pregnant. And you were already sleeping with my husband? Ada came running from inside the house, nearly dropping the tray of drinks she was carrying. What's going on? Why is everyone? She saw Zainab's hand, the ring, Emeka standing beside her. No. Zainab. She lunged forward, but uncles grabbed her, held her back as she screamed obscenities. You, AT at our table. Mama Okonkwo was advancing on Zainab like an avenging angel. We fed you, clothed you, paid for your father's funeral, and this is how you repay us. You organized this party, someone in the crowd shouted. You helped her plan this day. Zainab was crying now. I do love her, but I love him more. The compound erupted in shouting. Phones were out, recording everything. The contrast would be stark in the videos. Chidinma's joyful face cutting the pink cake, hugging her husband and best friend, then seconds later, standing there devastated with pink frosting on her fingers. Chidinma looked down at her hands, at the pink frosting that had symbolized joy moments ago. She looked at the half-eaten cake, with "It's a girl" written in pink icing. She looked at Zainab wearing the ring. You let me be happy, she said quietly, but in the chaos, people nearby heard her. For 3 minutes. You let me hug you. Let me think we were celebrating my daughter together. Then you destroyed everything. Without another word, she turned and walked toward the house. Pink frosting left fingerprints on the white doorframe as she passed through. Her mother and Ada rushed after her, but she held up a hand. I need a minute, please. Inside her childhood bedroom, Chidinma sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her reflection in the mirror across from her. She could hear the chaos outside, shouting, crying, Mama Okonkwo's voice rising above all others. She looked at her pregnant belly, placed both hands on it. A girl, she whispered. You're a girl. And your father he just... The tears came then. Great, heaving sobs that shook her whole body. She cried for 3 minutes, the same 3 minutes of happiness he'd allowed her before destroying her world. Then she stood up, walked to the bathroom, and washed the pink frosting off her hands. She watched it swirl down the drain. Pink water, pink dreams, pink lies. When she emerged, her face was dry, her spine straight. Ada was waiting. Chi, I'm done crying over him, Chidinma said, her voice like steel. That was the last time. What are you going to do? Chidinma walked to the window, looked out at the compound where guests were leaving, where Emeka and Zainab still stood together, where the pink decorations mocked everything. I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly who he is, who they both are, and I'm going to make sure my daughter never thinks this kind of betrayal is acceptable. Outside, Papa Okonkwo was ordering everyone to leave, asking them to delete the videos. But it was too late. The videos were already uploading, going viral in real time. Man proposes to wife's best friend right after baby gender reveal. By that evening, it would have 5 million views. Chidimma's phone was exploding with calls, messages, notifications. She turned it off and sat in the darkness of her childhood room. "Your father destroyed the day we found out you were a girl," she whispered to her unborn daughter. "But I promise you, my baby, that will be the last thing he destroys. We will rise from this." At midnight, Emeka tried to return to the house. Papa Okonkwo met him at the gate. "You don't live here anymore," the old man said. "Your wife and daughter deserve better than you." Emeka and Zainab drove away together, leaving behind the pink balloons drifting in the night wind, the half-eaten cake sitting on the table, and the woman whose heart they'd shattered. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't know, was that Chidimma Okonkwo wasn't broken. She was just getting started. Can you believe he did that? At her gender reveal, with her best friend. If you're as furious as we are right now, smash that like button. Subscribe to African Tales by Zion, because next chapter is going to show you what happens when you underestimate a woman scorned. Comment below, what would you do in Chidimma's position? Hit that notification bell, because you do not want to miss how this story unfolds. 2 weeks later, Chidimma sat in the sleek office of Barrister Ngozi Akoli, Lagos's most feared divorce attorney. The walls were covered with framed certificates and news clippings with headlines like "The Rottweiler of Lagos Family Law" and "Barrister Akoli." When you want to win, not settle. At 45, Barrister Ngozi was imposing, tall, dark-skinned, with close-cropped natural hair and eyes that missed nothing. She leaned back in her leather chair, fingers steepled, studying the pregnant woman across from her. "Tell me everything," she said. "And I mean everything." Chidimma, now nearly 8 months pregnant, had come prepared. She pulled out a folder, sliding documents across the desk. "We've been married for 5 years. The house is in both our names, but my family provided 60% of the down payment." She slid over bank statements. "Here's the proof." "Good." Barrister Ngozi nodded. "Continue." "His BMW, purchased with our joint account. His promotion to bank director came partly because my architecture firm designed the bank's new headquarters. Pro bono. You have documentation of this?" Chidimma slid over more papers. "I'm an architect. Documentation is what I do." For the first time, Barrister Ngozi smiled. "I like you already. Now tell me about the affair." Chidimma's voice didn't waver. 8 months. With my best friend. She was my maid of honor at our wedding. My family paid for her university education. When her father died, we paid for his funeral. She lived in my house, ate at my table, and was helping me organize my baby shower. And the proposal? At my baby's gender reveal party, right after we cut the cake, in front of 80 witnesses. It's on video. 5 million views and counting. Barrister Ngozi's eyebrows rose. "Show me." Chidimma pulled out her phone, played the video. The lawyer watched in silence. The joyful cake cutting, Chidimma's radiant happiness. The countdown, the pink reveal, the celebration. Then Emeka's announcement. The proposal. The chaos. "No, Barrister Ngozi breathed. "In all my years, I've never seen such calculated cruelty. Can you help me? Can I help you?" The lawyer laughed. "My dear, I'm going to destroy him. Legally, thoroughly, and completely. By the time I'm done, Emeka Okonkwo will regret the day he was born." She outlined the strategy. Filing for divorce on grounds of adultery, demanding primary custody of the unborn child, asset division heavily in Chidimma's favor, and child support that would make Emeka's eyes water. "What about Zainab?" Chidimma asked. "Unfortunately, we can't sue her. Nigeria doesn't recognize alienation of affection. But trust me, the court of public opinion has already convicted her." It was true. Zainab's Instagram, once thriving with 200,000 followers and brand deals, was now a wasteland. Her comments were disabled, but the damage was done. Companies had dropped her. Her followers had turned on her. Someone had created a petition. Zainab Hassan, homewrecker, with 50,000 signatures. Meanwhile, across Lagos in a cramped one-bedroom apartment, reality was hitting Emeka and Zainab hard. "Baby, do you know how to make jollof rice?" Emeka asked, staring at the empty kitchen. Zainab looked up from her phone. where she was deleting yet another hateful message. What? No. Order something. With what money? The rent here is 800,000 Nigerian nairas a month. My salary can barely. You said you were rich. You said you were a bank director. I am a bank director, but I have responsibilities. My parents cut me off. I have to pay for this place. And Chidinma's lawyers are demanding child support even before the baby is born. Zainab's face fell. This wasn't what she'd signed up for. When Emeka had pursued her 8 months ago at a friend's party, he'd seemed perfect, successful, generous, charming. He'd showered her with gifts, taken her to expensive restaurants. Promise of the world. He'd never mentioned that his wife was the one actually funding their lifestyle. I need new content for Instagram, Zainab said. Can you give me money for a photo shoot? Are you mad? We barely have money for food. Their first real fight erupted. By the time it ended, both were in tears, and Zainab was wondering what exactly she'd won. Back in Enugu, Chidinma had returned to work at her architecture firm. Her business partner, Femi, had been concerned. Are you sure you should be working? You're due in 4 weeks. I need to work. I need to keep my mind sharp. That afternoon, a major client called, the same bank where Emeka worked. They wanted to discuss Phase 2 of their headquarters project. Chidinma took the meeting personally. She arrived at the bank the next day, 7 months and 3 weeks pregnant, dressed in a stunning professional maternity outfit. Heads turned. Whispers followed her. That's her, the one from the video. She's so dignified. After what he did to her. In the conference room, bank executives stood when she entered. The respect in their eyes was palpable. Mrs. Okonkwo, the CEO, began and caught himself. Or do you prefer? Ms. Okafor now, Chidinma said smoothly. I'm reverting to my maiden name. Ms. Okafor, your designs for our headquarters have been exceptional. We'd like to commission Phase 2, a 20 million naira contract. Chidinma maintained her professional composure, but inside, she was celebrating. I'd be honored. As she left the building, she passed Emeka's floor. Their eyes met through the glass walls. His colleagues were watching, whispering. His shame was visible even from a distance. Chidinma walked past without acknowledgement. She'd already forgotten him. That evening, Uncle Chidi, her mother's older brother and a wealthy businessman, called her for dinner. Ada told me everything. He said once they were seated at his Enugu mansion. I wanted to hear it from you. Chidinma told the story without emotion. Facts, dates, details. Uncle Chidi listened in silence. At 55, he was one of the most influential men in Enugu, connections everywhere, respected by everyone. You know I helped fund your wedding, he finally said. I know, Uncle. I'm sorry for the shame. He held up a hand. The shame is his, not yours. But I need to know what you want. I want my daughter to be provided for. I want what's rightfully mine. And I want Emeka to know he doesn't get to destroy people and walk away untouched. Uncle Chidi nodded slowly. Then we'd go to war, the Okafor family way. Over the next week, phone calls were made, quiet words in the right ears. Uncle Chidi didn't ask anyone to fire Emeka or harm him professionally. That would be too obvious. He simply withdrew support. A promotion Emeka was expecting? Delayed pending performance review. A business deal he was working on? The client decided to go another direction. An invitation to join a prestigious business association? We're at capacity this year. Emeka felt the walls closing in but couldn't prove anything. At Pastor David's insistence, both parties agreed to one marriage counseling session. Emeka arrived with Zainab. Pastor David, a 50-year-old man who'd known the family for years, stared in disbelief. You brought your mistress to marriage counseling? She's my fiancée, Emeka corrected, and she's part of my life now. Chidinma, who'd arrived with Ada, stood up. Pastor, I came in good faith. But if this is his position, there's nothing to counsel. Sister Chidinma, please. Pastor, my daughter deserves a father who respects her mother. This man proposed to another woman at my baby's gender reveal party. There's nothing to save here. She walked out head high. Zainab turned to Pastor David. See? She's so cold, so unforgiving. That's why he left her. The pastor's face hardened. Young lady, you destroyed a family. You betrayed a friendship. And you celebrate it. If you think that makes you righteous, you understand nothing about God or marriage. 3 days later, at 3 a.m., Chidinma went into labor. Ada rushed her to the hospital. The baby came fast. A healthy girl, 2.8 kilograms, with a full head of black hair and her mother's eyes. What will you name her? The nurse asked. Chidinma looked at her daughter, this tiny perfect thing that came from such ugliness. Kosasaku, she said. Kosi for short. As God has willed it. The hospital called Emeka. Legally, they had informed the father. He showed up the next morning. With Zainab, they walked into maternity ward together. Him in his work clothes, her in designer wear, both looking uncomfortable. The nurses' faces showed exactly what they thought of this arrangement. Chidinma was in her private room. Kosi sleeping in a bassinet beside her bed. When the door opened and she saw them both, her face went cold. Get out. That's my daughter, Emeka said. I have a right. You have no rights here. Security. Chidinma, please. You proposed to your mistress at my baby's gender reveal. You humiliated me in front of 80 people. You destroyed my happiest moment. And now you bring her to my hospital room? Get out. 2 security guards appeared. Emeka tried to argue, but the head nurse, a woman in her 50s, pointed to the door. You heard her. Leave, both of you. As they were escorted out, Zainab's voice echoed down the hallway. This is so unfair. He just wanted to see his baby. The nurse who'd been caring for Chidinma shook her head. Men like that, they don't deserve women like you. Alone with her daughter, Chidinma felt tears slip down her face, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of relief, of survival, of strength. Your father is a fool, Kosi, but you have a mother who will move heaven and earth for you, and that's more than enough. Oh, no, he didn't. He brought the mistress to the hospital. Are you angry right now? Like this video and subscribe to African Tales by Zion. Next chapter shows you how reality hits Emeka and Zainab hard. Comment. Would you have let him in the hospital room? No way. Hit that notification bell. 3 months later, Lagos was experiencing unusual rain for the dry season. Chidinma stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of her architecture firm's new office, watching the water stream down the glass. Behind her, baby Kosi slept peacefully in a designer carrier, strapped to her nanny's chest. At 33 now, Chidinma looked different. Motherhood had transformed her. She was leaner, stronger, more focused. Her goddess locks were styled in an elegant updo, and her professional attire spoke of success. More importantly, the haunted look that had shadowed her eyes after the proposal was gone. Ms. Okafor, her assistant, knocked on the door. Mr. Adewale from the Ministry of Works is here for your 2 p.m. Send him in. The meeting went well. Another government contract, another opportunity for her firm to expand. As Mr. Adewale left, he paused at the door. My daughter showed me the video from your gender reveal party. He said quietly, what your husband did, what they both did, it was wicked, but look at you now. This is what we call grace under fire. After he left, Chidinma allowed herself a small smile. She'd stopped reading the comments on the viral videos months ago, but she knew public opinion had firmly landed on her side. Hashtag Team Chidinma was still trending on Nigerian Twitter. Meanwhile, across town in their small apartment, Emeka was discovering that being the villain in a viral video had consequences. His boss, Mr. Adeyemi, had called him in that morning. Emeka, we need to talk about your performance. Sir, You're distracted. Your reports are late. You missed the quarterly meeting. And frankly, clients are uncomfortable working with you. That was a month ago. The video has 30 million views. Our female clients ask specifically not to work with you. Our female employees have complained to HR. You're a liability. The demotion came that afternoon. Bank director to senior manager. 30% pay cut. When Emeka got home, Zainab was waiting. Well, Did you get the promotion? I got demoted. What? They cut my salary by 30%. Zainab's face went from shock to anger to panic in seconds. How are we supposed to live on that? I need money for my content creation. You have to pay child support to her. Don't call her her. That's my daughter. A daughter you never see because her mother won't let you. It was true. The court had granted Emeka supervised visitation, 1 Saturday per month. But every visit was torture. Chidinma would hand over Kosi with such cold dignity, and Emeka would hold his daughter for 4 hours while a court-appointed supervisor watched. Kosi was beautiful. She had Chidinma's eyes and smile. And Emeka was missing everything. First laugh, first solid food, first time sleeping through the night. All of it was happening without him. Maybe if you hadn't proposed to me at her gender reveal party, she'd let you see your daughter more. Zainab snapped. Emeka's head whipped around. What did you say? I said what I said. Everyone blames me, but you're the one who was married. You pursued me. You were her best friend. You knew she was pregnant. And you knew you had a wife. Their fighting had become constant. The Instagram perfect romance was dead. What remained was two people who betrayed everyone for each other, now realizing they didn't even like each other very much. Zainab's influencer career was essentially over. The brand that hadn't dropped her immediately had slowly backed away. Her follower count had dropped to 50,000. Mostly hate followers who stayed to leave nasty comments. She tried posting content. Fashion, lifestyle, motivational quotes. The comments were always the same. Homewrecker. You destroyed a family. Remember that pregnant woman whose party you ruined? She tried to rebrand, even posted an apology video. I made mistakes. I'm human. I'm sorry for the pain I caused. It got 2 million views and 500,000 dislikes. The comments were ruthless. Her own family had distanced themselves. Her mother, a devout Muslim, had been horrified by the scandal. You destroyed a marriage, Zainab. In our faith, in any faith, that is unforgivable. Now, Zainab worked a regular job at a boutique hotel, reception desk, dealing with rude customers, barely making 150,000 Nigerian nairas a month. She, who'd once made that in a single brand deal. One day, she saw Chidinma. It was at the grand opening of a new luxury mall in Victoria Island. Zainab was there with girlfriends who reluctantly agreed to hang out with her. Chidinma was there for a business meeting with a potential client. When Chidinma walked in, heads turned. She was stunning in a tailored business suit, baby Kosi in a designer carrier, and beside her, a man, Dr. Olamide Badmus, cardiothoracic surgeon, 38, handsome in a distinguished way. He was carrying Kosi's baby bag, making Chidinma laugh at something he'd said. Zainab watched from across the mall as they entered a restaurant, as the man pulled out Chidinma's chair as she smiled, genuinely smiled, in a way Zainab remembered from before. Is that? One of Zainab's friends started. Yeah, Zainab said quietly. That's her. She looks amazing. And who's that with her? I don't know. But Emeka knew, because his mother had told him. Your ex-wife is seeing someone. Mama Okonkwo had said during their monthly obligatory phone call. A doctor, very respectable. He's good with the baby. Emeka had felt something twist in his chest. She's dating. What did you expect? That she'd wait for you? You destroyed her in the most public way possible. She's moved on, as she should. That night, Emeka drove past Chidinma's house, the house that used to be theirs, the house he'd been kicked out of. The lights were on. Through the window, he could see her sitting on the couch, the doctor beside her, both looking at baby Kosi, laughing. A family, without him. He sat in his car for an hour, watching the life he'd thrown away. When he got back to the apartment, Zainab was packing a bag. Where are you going? My mother's. For a few days. I need space. Space? Now. Emeka, this isn't working. We fight constantly. We have no money. Everyone hates us. I can't even post on Instagram without death threats. This isn't what I thought it would be. You're leaving me? The irony was completely lost on him. I'm not leaving. I'm just taking a break. She left. The apartment felt empty, hollow. Emeka looked around at the small space, at the life he'd chosen. He pulled out his phone, scrolled through old photos. There was one from 3 years ago. Him and Chidinma at the beach, her laughing, the sun setting behind them. She'd been so happy. They'd been happy. What had he been thinking? He knew what he'd been thinking. Zainab had been exciting, new, forbidden. She'd made him feel young again, important, desired. She'd told him he was amazing, that Chidinma didn't appreciate him. But Zainab had never known him. Not really. She knew the version of himself he performed for her, the big man, the bank director, the generous boyfriend. She didn't know about his love for old Nollywood movies, his fear of flying, his habit of praying before big meetings. Chidinma had known all of that, had loved him despite, because of all of that, and he'd thrown her away like trash. Publicly, cruelly. His phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Emeka Okonkwo? A woman's voice, professional. Yes. This is Barrister Ngozi Akoli's office. We're calling about your child support payment. It's 3 days late. I know, I just need... The agreement states that late payments incur a 25% penalty. You now owe 937,500 Nigerian nairas instead of 750,000 Nigerian nairas. That's almost 1 million naira. That's what the agreement says. Payment is expected by end of business Friday, or we'll proceed with wage garnishment. The call ended. Emeka stared at his phone, at his bank balance, at his life. He'd lost his wife. His daughter barely knew him. His fiancée was taking a break. His career was stalled. His family had disowned him. His money was gone. And Chidinma, beautiful, graceful, unbreakable Chidinma, was thriving. For the first time since that day in the compound, Emeka Okonkwo felt the full weight of what he'd done, and it was crushing him. Emeka is finally realizing what he lost. But is it too late? Like and subscribe to African Tales by Zion. Next chapter brings a courtroom drama, and you won't believe what happens. Comment. Do you feel sorry for Emeka? I don't. Hit that notification bell. The Federal High Court of Lagos was packed. The divorce proceedings of Okonkwo versus Okonkwo had become something of a spectacle, not just because of the viral video, but because of who was representing each side. Barrister Ngozi Akoli, in her signature black suit and red lipstick, sat beside Chidinma, who looked serene in a navy blue dress, baby Kosi sleeping in her carrier. On the other side, Emeka sat with his lawyer, a young man named Barrister Johnson, who looked distinctly uncomfortable. Judge Adebayo, a woman in her 60s with no patience for nonsense, called the court to order. This is a petition for divorce on grounds of adultery, she began, looking over her glasses at Emeka. Mr. Okonkwo, do you contest these grounds? Your Honor, I. Yes or no? No, Your Honor. But I'd like to explain. You'll have your chance. Barrister Akoli, present your case. What followed was systematic destruction. Barrister Ngozi presented the video, all 30 million views of it. The judge watched without expression as Chidinma's joy turned to devastation in real time. Your Honor, Barrister Ngozi said, this is not a case of a marriage falling apart quietly. This is calculated humiliation. The respondent proposed to his mistress, his wife's best friend, immediately after they discovered they were having a daughter, in front of 80 witnesses, including his elderly parents. She presented witness statements from family members, friends, church members, all painting the same picture. Emeka Okonkwo is cruel, selfish, and unrepentant. Then came the financial evidence. The marital home, purchased with funds 60% provided by the petitioner's family. Here's the bank transfer record. The respondent's BMW, purchased with joint account funds. Petitioner can prove her deposits significantly exceeded his. The respondent's career advancement, directly attributable to petitioner's firm designing his bank's headquarters pro bono. Here's the contract, signed by both parties. Emeka's lawyer tried to object, to argue, but every document was in order. Every fact was provable. When Chidinma took the stand, the courtroom was silent. Mrs. Okonkwo, Ms. Okafor, Chidinma corrected gently. I've reverted to my maiden name. Ms. Okafor, in your own words, describe what happened on the day of your baby's gender reveal. Chidinma's voice was calm, clear, without drama or tears. We cut the cake. We found out we were having a daughter. I was happy, genuinely, completely happy. My husband hugged me. My best friend hugged me. We celebrated for approximately 3 minutes. Then my husband proposed to my best friend, in front of everyone. How did that make you feel? Destroyed, humiliated, betrayed, twice over. But more than that, I felt sorry for my daughter. She will grow up knowing her father proposed to another woman on the day he found out she existed. The judge's expression flickered. Do you have anything you'd like to say to your husband? Chidinma looked at Emeka for the first time since entering the courtroom. I don't hate you. I pity you. You destroyed something beautiful for something temporary. You traded a family for an audience. You chose pride over love. And now you have neither. Emeka's face crumbled. His lawyer put a hand on his arm, whispered something. But Emeka was staring at Chidinma like he was seeing her for the first time. When Emeka took the stand, he tried to explain. I made a mistake. I was confused. I thought I loved her. You thought? Judge Adebayo interrupted. You proposed marriage based on I thought. I was going through something. What were you going through? Your wife's pregnancy? The birth of your daughter? Please, enlighten us. Emeka had no answer. Barrister Ngozi stood. Mr. Okonkwo, did you or did you not propose to Ms. Hassan at your daughter's gender reveal party? Yes, but... Did you or did you not bring Ms. Hassan to the hospital when your daughter was born? I wanted her to meet. Yes or no? Yes. Have you supported your daughter financially? I pay child support. After the court ordered you to, have you voluntarily provided anything beyond the bare minimum? Emeka was silent. Let the record show the respondent has no answer. The asset division was brutal. Chidinma got the house, primary custody of Kosi, and 15 million Nigerian nairas in settlement. Emeka got the car and crippling debt. Outside the courthouse, media was waiting. Cameras, questions, chaos. Ms. Okafor, how you feel about the judgment? Chidinma, holding Kosi, faced the cameras with grace. I feel free. That's all I ever wanted. Freedom to build my life and raise my daughter in peace. Do you have anything to say to women in similar situations? Yes. Your worth is not determined by someone else's inability to see it. Walk away with dignity. Rebuild with purpose. And never let anyone who betrayed you see you broken. The clip went viral. Again. But this time, Chidinma controlled the narrative. Emeka tried to leave through a side entrance but was spotted. Mr. Okonkwo, do you regret your actions? He pushed past without answering, got into his car and drove away to the apartment he shared with Zainab. Except when he arrived, her belongings were gone. A note on the kitchen counter. I can't do this anymore. The guilt, the hate, the money problems. It's too much. I'm sorry. I thought we were worth it. We weren't. Z. Emeka read the note 3 times before it sank in. Zainab had left him. The woman he destroyed his marriage for had left him. He sat on the floor of the empty apartment and, for the first time since the compound, cried. Not because he loved Zainab. He wasn't sure he ever had. But because he'd finally understood the magnitude of what he'd lost. He'd lost Chidinma. Strong, brilliant, graceful Chidinma who'd loved him unconditionally. He'd lost Kosi, his daughter who would grow up barely knowing him. He'd lost his family, his reputation, his career trajectory, his peace. For what? For an affair that lasted 8 months. For a proposal that lasted 3 minutes. For a relationship that couldn't survive its own beginning. His phone rang. His mother. I saw the judgment, she said. Your father and I are praying for you. Mama, I've lost everything. No, you threw everything away. There's a difference. But Emeka, you're still our son. When you're ready to become a better man, we'll be here. How do I fix this? You can't fix this. You can only learn from it. Be a father to Kosi. Pay your support on time. Build a new life. But understand, Chidinma is gone. She's moved on, as she should. That night, Emeka saw photos on social media. Someone had tagged Chidinma at a charity gala. She was there with Dr. Olamide, looking radiant in a green gown, Kosi in her arms. The caption, Architect Chidinma Okafor and Dr. Olamide Badmus supporting children's education. The comments were full of support, admiration, celebration. She deserves happiness. God really does give you beauty for ashes. This is what grace looks like. Emeka closed the app, closed his eyes, and accepted the truth. He'd lost her. Completely, totally, irrevocably. And it was no one's fault but his own. The divorce is final. But wait until you see next chapter. You won't believe what happens next. Like and subscribe to African Tales by Zion. Comment, is this justice or is it revenge? Hit that notification bell for the shocking finale. 18 months after the proposal that broke the internet, Lagos was hosting its annual Architecture Excellence Awards at the Eco Hotel's Grand Ballroom. The who's who of Nigerian architecture, construction, and real estate had gathered. Designers in elegant evening wear, construction moguls in tuxedos, government officials in traditional attire. Chidinma Okafor, now 34, stood at the bar, radiant in a floor-length gold gown that hugged her figure. Her goddess locks were swept up in an elegant style, diamond earrings catching the light. Baby Kosi, now 15 months old, was at home with her nanny. Tonight was about business. Ms. Okafor, a colleague waved her over. Have you heard? You're nominated for Architect of the Year. Chidinma smiled but didn't allow herself to hope. The competition was fierce, established firms with decades of experience. Her firm was barely 7 years old. Beside her, Dr. Olamide Badmus placed a supportive hand on the small of her back. At 38, the cardiothoracic surgeon was distinguished in his perfectly tailored tuxedo, with salt and pepper temple hair and warm brown eyes that reflected genuine pride. You're going to win, he whispered. You don't know that. I know you. You're brilliant. They'd be fools not to recognize it. They'd been together for 9 months now, taking things slowly. He'd met Kosi on their third date. Chidinma had been upfront about being a single mother. His response had been to bring a teddy bear and spend an hour on the floor playing with a toddler. I'm divorced too, he'd explain later. No kids, but I always wanted them. Kosi is a blessing. Anyone who can't see that isn't worth your time. He proposed 2 weeks ago, privately, elegantly, at the Botanical Gardens with just Kosi and the sunset as witnesses. Chidinma was still wearing the ring on a chain around her neck, planning to announce the engagement after the night's event. She wanted this night to be about her work, not her personal life. Across the ballroom, Emeka Okonkwo stood near the back, nursing a beer. He shouldn't be here. His bank had sponsored a table, and as senior manager, he'd been obligated to attend. But he'd almost refused when he saw the guest list and realized Chidinma would be here. At 36, he looked older than his years. The stress of the past 18 months showed in the lines around his eyes, the slight stoop to his shoulders. He'd lost weight, not in a healthy way. The spark that had once made him magnetic was gone. His eyes found Chidinma across the crowded room. She was laughing at something the man beside her said, her hand resting on his arm with comfortable familiarity. Emeka felt something twist in his chest. He'd known she was dating. His mother had made sure he knew. But seeing it in person was different. She looked happy, genuinely, radiantly happy. The way she used to look with him, before he destroyed everything. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC's voice rang out. It's time to announce our award winners. The crowd moved toward the stage. Emeka stayed in the back, partially hidden by a pillar. For Architect of the Year, the committee had a difficult choice. But one portfolio stood out: innovative design, sustainable practices, and an inspiring story of perseverance. Please welcome Ms. Chidinma Okafor. The ballroom erupted in applause. Chidinma's face showed genuine shock before she composed herself and walked to the stage, Dr. Olamide beaming as he watched her go. At the podium, Chidinma accepted the crystal trophy, letting herself feel the weight of this moment. Thank you, she began, voice steady despite emotions threatening to overflow. 18 months ago, my life fell apart publicly, spectacularly, and painfully. I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen. 5 million people watched it happen. Uncomfortable laughter rippled through the crowd. But what I learned is this. When life destroys your plans, you get to build new ones, better ones. When someone shows you they don't value you, you don't fight to prove your worth. You take that worth and build something magnificent. Her eyes swept the crowd, landing on Emeka for just a moment before moving on. This award isn't just mine. It belongs to every woman who's been betrayed and chose to rebuild. Every single mother who worked twice as hard to prove nothing to anyone but herself. Every person who turned their pain into purpose. She held up the trophy. To my daughter Kosi, Mommy did it. To my family who supported me, thank you. And to someone very special who reminded me that good men exist, she looked at Dr. Olamide. Thank you for seeing me. The applause was thunderous. Chidinma returned to her seat, where Dr. Olamide kissed her temple and whispered something that made her laugh. Emeka watched in the shadows, feeling like an uninvited ghost at his own funeral. After the ceremony, during the reception, Chidinma was surrounded by well-wishers, industry leaders, media. Dr. Olamide stood slightly behind her, supportive but not overshadowing, occasionally placing a protective hand on her back when the crowd pressed too close. Then Emeka appeared. Chidinma, congratulations. She turned, face becoming carefully neutral. Emeka. The crowd around them quieted, sensing drama. Dr. Olamide stepped closer to Chidinma's side. Emeka noticed a movement, noticed the casual way the man's presence gave Chidinma confidence. Can we talk? Emeka asked, privately. I don't think there's anything to say. Please, 5 minutes. Chidinma glanced at Dr. Olamide, who nodded slightly. Your choice. She excused herself, leading Emeka to a quiet corner of the terrace. Lagos's city lights glittered below them. The sounds of the party drifted out through open doors. I'm proud of you, Emeka said, for all of this. You deserve it. Thank you. Is that your... He couldn't finish the sentence. Dr. Olamide Badmus, cardiothoracic surgeon. And yes, we're together. Emeka nodded, fighting the urge to ask more, to say he was sorry, to beg for another chance. But he'd learned in 18 months of therapy, his lawyer had recommended it after the divorce, that some apologies are too late. Some damage can't be undone. How's Kosi? Chidinma's face softened. She's wonderful. Walking now. Saying new words every day. She asks about you. That hurt more than anything. She does. She sees other children with their fathers. She's starting to notice. I tell her you love her, that you'll see her on Saturday. Chidinma's voice grew firmer. So make sure you're there. On time. Don't disappoint her. I won't. I haven't missed a visit in 6 months. I know. Keep it that way. They stood in silence for a moment. I'm getting engaged, Chidinma said quietly. He proposed 2 weeks ago. I wanted you to hear it from me before you saw it online. Emeka felt something shatter inside him, but he forced a smile. Does he treat you well? He treats me like I'm precious, like I'm irreplaceable, like he won the lottery when I said yes to coffee. That's how I should have treated you. Yes, you should have. I was an idiot. Yes, you were. Emeka laughed bitterly. No mercy even now? Emeka, I don't hate you. I actually don't feel much of anything for you anymore. And that's how I know I've healed. You're just the man I used to know, the father of my child. But you're not my husband. You're not my friend. You're not someone whose opinion matters to my happiness. That's worse than hatred. That's indifference. And it's freedom. Dr. Olamide appeared in the terrace doorway. Chi, they're asking for photos with the award. Coming. She turned back to Emeka. I need to go. Take care of yourself. And remember, Saturday at 10 a.m. Don't be late. She walked away, back to the light, the music, the celebration, back to the man who valued her. Emeka stood alone on the terrace, watching through glasses. Chidinma posed for photos, Dr. Olamide beside her, the trophy in her hands, her smile genuine and bright. He stayed for 30 more minutes, then quietly left. On his drive home to his one-bedroom apartment, he passed the Okonkwo family compound. Lights were on, his parents were home. He hadn't visited in months. Too ashamed. His phone buzzed. A text from his mother. Saw the awards on TV. Your ex-wife looks happy. When will you find your peace? When? Maybe never. Maybe that was his punishment. To watch Chidinma thrive while he merely survived. 3 months later, Chidinma and Dr. Olamide's engagement was announced in this day newspaper. A full spread with professional photos. The wedding was set for 6 months later. An intimate ceremony with 200 guests. Not the massive production her first wedding had been, but elegant and meaningful. Emeka learned about it from social media, from the post his own family made celebrating the engagement. His mother had commented, "So happy for you, my daughter. This is what love should look like." My daughter. She still called Chidinma that. The wedding day came, a sunny Saturday in Lagos. Emeka had Kosi for his monthly visit. His daughter, now 2 years old, was in a flowered girl dress. Mama getting married. Kosi told him proudly, showing off her white dress with pink flowers. "I know, princess. Daddy Lami is nice. He plays with me. Daddy Lami. Not uncle. Daddy." Emeka felt the title like a knife, but he smiled. "I'm glad he's nice to you. You come to wedding?" "No, baby. This is Mama's special day." But after he dropped Kosi off at Chidinma's house, after he saw her with the bridal party, Ada, her cousins, her mother, he drove past the wedding venue, St. Augustine's Catholic Church, decorated with white flowers and gold ribbons, guests arriving in traditional attire and evening wear. He parked across the street, far enough to not be noticed, close enough to see. Chidinma arrived in a Rolls-Royce, courtesy of Uncle Chitty. Her wedding dress was stunning, elegant lace with a cathedral train, not the massive gown she'd worn at their wedding, but somehow more beautiful in its simplicity. She was radiant as Uncle Chitty walked her down the aisle, through the open church doors. Emeka could hear the music, the vows. "Do you, Olamide, take Chidinma?" "I do." "Do you, Chidinma, take Olamide?" "I do." And then applause, celebration, joy. Emeka sat in his car, watching from a distance as they emerged, husband and wife now. Dr. Olamide was looking at Chidinma like she was the sun and the stars and every good thing. The way Emeka used to look at her, the way he should have kept looking at her. He drove away before anyone could see him, before he could humiliate himself further by crashing a wedding he had no right to attend. 6 months after the wedding, Chidinma posted photos. She was pregnant again, a boy this time. The caption, "Kosi is going to be a big sister. Our family is growing. Hashtag blessed, hashtag second chance love." The photos showed her, Dr. Olamide and Kosi, a perfect family unit. The comments were overwhelmingly positive. "You deserve all this happiness." From heartbreak to happy ending. This is what grace looks like. And in a one-bedroom apartment across town, Emeka Okonkwo scrolled through the photos, seeing everything he'd thrown away, everything he destroyed for 3 minutes of pride and 8 months of lust. He closed the app, closed his eyes, and accepted his truth. Some mistakes don't get fixed. Some losses are permanent. Some chances only come once. He'd had Chidinma, strong, brilliant, loyal Chidinma who'd loved him completely, and he destroyed her publicly, cruelly, on the day they found out they were having a daughter. She'd risen from those ashes like a phoenix, and he was still sitting in the ruins, alone. That was justice. That was consequence. That was life. Wow! What a journey. From public humiliation to public vindication. Chidinma got her happy ending, and Emeka got exactly what he deserved. Nothing. If this story moved you, smash that like button and subscribe African Tales by Zion. Comment, did Chidinma handle this perfectly, or what? Share this with someone who needs to know that your worst moment doesn't define you. It refines you. This is African Tales by Zion reminding you. Choose your people wisely, treat them well, and never underestimate the woman you betrayed. Thank you for watching. God bless you all.